At the end of that last video, I had configured router 1 to get its time from our multi-layer switch with no authentication involved, and a few minutes later that's exactly what happened. You can see show NTP association gives us the magic asterisk that shows that we're all synced up. Show NTP status tells us clock is synced, stratum of 9, reference 10114, and I just wanted to run show NTP association detail for you to show you what it looks like when you don't have authentication. It's not going to mention it at all. It'll just mention all the other values that we saw in it previously. So with that, the authentication is nice, but it's not exactly ironclad. So we can do something else to protect our NTP deployment. And that's actually use an access list. That shouldn't surprise you since they seem to come in on everything. And a special command to apply it to our NTP config. Let's say at this point, we only want the router at 10.1.1.3 to be able to get its time from the server via NTP. We're going to do that first by writing an access list, not with the number 1, I promise you. And we're going to permit host 10.1.1.3, and that's it. We got our implicit deny, so everybody else is going to be denied. The command is actually NTP access group, and that's the first thing that's a little different about it. You've used the access group command before, but now we have some options we've never seen otherwise. So not only can you do a permit deny on an IP address, you can also say, okay, here's the kind of access I want that peer to have. We can provide full access and make it a peer relationship. We can make it query only. Serve provides server and query access, or serve only, which is, hey, you're only getting server access, you can't ask me anything. So let's go ahead and just make it, we'll make it serve, even though, yeah, that's fine. Serve is fine. And it's going to be serve right here, not sever. That's not going to work. Sever, you don't want to know what happens when you put that in. And we'll put 22 in, and that is it. We are not going to send a KISSO death packet for failing peers, but I wanted to show that to you because I just love that name. KOD, you believe that? That's funny. Anyway, we've got our NTP access group serve 22 line going on, and that's going to apply it. And now we're going to go out and check and see what it did on the existing authentications. Let's go out to router 3 first. And we see everything looks fine there with show NTP association. Status, we're still synced up, everything is fine. Let's go out to router 1 and see what the deal is. And we're still fine. And we're still synced, but I don't know if that's going to be the case for very long, because let's run debug NTP packets. Let's try one packet. There we go, debug NTP packet. And I'm going to pause the video here for a moment and let a couple of packets accumulate. So let me do that and we'll be back. All right, we've had that in there for a couple of minutes now, and you can see a couple of messages after I ran debug NTP packet. And the first one got a little jumbled there, but you see NTP message received from 10.1.1.3 on interface VLAN 1, which by the way is the interface I had the address on, 10.1.1.4, on the multi-layer switch. And right after that, you can see a message went out to 10.1.1.3. But what you see after that, a couple lines, is NTP message received from 10.1.1.1 on interface VLAN 1, but you don't see one going back out. That's the access list coming into play. Then, just a few seconds, about a minute later, right? Yep. NTP message received from 10.1.1.3, again, on interface VLAN 1. That was downright rude of it to scroll while I was doing that. Let me get rid of that. And you can see again, NTP message sent to 10.1.1.3 after receiving one. We're getting NTP messages from 10.1.1.1, but we're not sending the messages back because of the NTP access group command. And if we go over to router 3 at this point, you can see that it's still synchronized, stratum 9, references 10.1.1.4. If we go over to router 1, clock is unsynchronized, stratum 16. So that's the power of the access list, is that it will go ahead and drop a particular connection if it doesn't meet the access group criteria, and then of course it would not let us rebuild it. So right now 10113 is the only router that can possibly get time from our time server. And that wraps up our labs with NTP. We've looked at authentication, non-authentication, then blocking with access groups. You definitely want to tie it down a bit with the access group command. You really do. NTP authentication, as we've seen, is not exactly ironclad security. So we will march on to another topic at the very beginning of the next video. I'll see you there.